We're at Ashkelon here. We're going back through history.
Use me.
Roman period, back to the Philistines, to the Canaanites. Excavations, remains of the wall, and it's right by the sea. That's what the Canaanite fortress would look like right here that we're seeing.
The coast itself, the shoreline itself is considered sandy or even swampy. Tel Ashkelon, for instance, was not right on the waterline. Here, apparently, they made an exception. But the general understanding is that the international sea went behind, maybe like the highway.
Yeah, I went out after dinner and showered and we were down the internet. I ended up just laying dead and reading.
Here's another explanation for that calf. It was really bronze and covered or gilded, I don't know if that's the right term, with silver, which was apparently to be venerated by people before entering the city. Usually it's just a tiny hole into the past. Okay, again, how do I call them? A bit of sarcasm, being a coin person, the nylon bags of antiquity. Bits and pieces of nylon bags. Go and try and reconstruct history based on this. But this is often all we have, this and walls. Sorry, this is archaeology. This is a fragment, but of what? How do you reconstruct the whole shape? You look at it and you try to see, by looking at the top, is it this way or this way? It has to have the right surface. Usually you put it against the floor or the table to tell. You see, on this angle it matches. It wasn't like this and it wasn't like this, it was like this. Now then estimate the diameter. Was it a big bowl or was it a cup? It was, I think, like a soup bowl in size. Right? Look at the angle. Okay, this is how we have the basics, and what we're missing is the bottom. So we cannot tell exactly the depth, but we can estimate. But this is still technical. The real intellectual challenge is trying to tell the date of this. We have books showing you types and their time frame. And it's not that we got it by Moses on Mount Sinai. We created it. It's a very dynamic process of making these pottery type catalogs.
Just lay right
Every excavation uses previous knowledge from previous digs and adds its own to the catalog. And frankly, they still haven't created a proper way to do all of this. We still rely on books. I argue in the internet age there should be some mass internet catalog. Okay, like Wikipedia of pottery shards. Every excavation will add to that database so everyone can use it in a much better manner.
Now we're going to the gate, this ancient gate, entering into Ashkelon.
Even notice notice it. You can dig through a mud brick wall and not notice it if you're not paying attention to the small details. And Stager's expedition at this point, notice how it has a curve going up this way. And they found a matching corner on the other side. And they made the map. This is the gate into the city. The date of this is Middle Bronze Age. That's a pretty wide range. From the 19th to the 16th century. We have many cities built by the Canaanites in those days. Basically, what the Bible calls as Canaanites, we split into three periods: Early Bronze, Middle Bronze, and Late Bronze. The Middle Bronze is the biggest one, the most urban one. The cities, the Canaanite cities then reach their biggest size. We believe that Early Bronze is the first Canaanite attempt to, or the first urban period with debris, thousands of years ago. And totally by chance, Abraham Biran in the Hebrew Union College expedition discovered it. Totally by chance. And so there is an issue of local pride. Who is older? They're both Middle Bronze Age. But Stager is arguing that the pottery shards here date to about a century earlier to the one in Tel Ashkelon. So the sign here is saying, this is the oldest arch gate in the world. It's not just in local terms. Abraham Biran would probably disagree, but today the compromise is the agreement that this is maybe the oldest, but that's the one in Tel Ashkelon is the most complete and old one, because they have the arch all the way through. In any case, it's pretty amazing to think that you can really walk through a gate that was used as far back as 4,000 years. There aren't many examples for such antiquities in the world. Yes?
We're going into the oldest gate in the world.
As you can see, maintenance,
Or at least in Israel.
it's not an easy issue. Finding gate is one thing, but keeping it clean and accessible requires much investment. This whole copper used to protect the mud walls from crumbling in the next winter. And polishing it, keeping it clean, especially for the living room, also takes budgets. These are much better than anything. Many sites used to be excavated, and then shrubs covering oak gates will have little niches where the guards potentially could stand. The Israelite then gate system copied it, only added more space for the guards. But it was always like a shaft, not a shaft, an alley, a tunnel in a straight angle. The important thing is that this was always with no angles. So it would be...
This is all the city of Ashkelon. Big port city, but there was no port. It was shallow enough where they had to take smaller boats to bring them in. Power plant. Power goes to Gaza, so we're really close to Gaza Strip.
It's a conveyor belt. Here, these are the boats downloading.
They have one by
This, we are just 10 minutes away from Gaza. The electric station also provides electricity to Gaza, and yet it's that house.
ancient stairs?
I doubt it.
Wait, I gotta...
Put here for our convenience.
Flowers or something. I'm taking this piece.
See all the pottery? You see all the pottery there?
Okay, these are destruction layers of homes, and eventually the edges were taken by the sea and frost, and they're gradually being exposed. Big pottery.
Yeah, look at those layers.
What is the excitement here?
Yeah, there's coins area.
All the pottery.
It's layered.
I don't know if you see up in there,
Oh,
the
yeah.
pottery.
Oh, I see against, yes.
And there's a big column right in front of it.
Whole big sections here falling out.
Come on.
Some other component. What is this black one? I don't know what was complex that is using the benefit Ashkelon has, like some other sites along the coast.
Here's the water wheel being here.
Underneath the surface, you can sometimes find
Water would come out here.
like the water also coming in the middle. And that's therefore a combined cistern and a well. But how do you get it to the top? Jacob used a rope in a animal skin used as a bucket. A more industrial type of raising the water to the surface was this device. We have evidence of using this type of water wheel already in Byzantine times because we find the jars. We don't always find the facility. This has been used until 1948. That's why we know that it was also a water wheel facility. And how did the whole thing work? You need to imagine a big chain over this axis with a rope and a bucket who's upside down when it goes down, and then it's upside up the right way when it goes up, and now it's filled with water. The important thing is that once it turns around up there, it will pour the water into a channel which will collect it into the reservoir over here. Okay, how do you circle the whole thing on the top? You need to imagine a beam going up here, and then here where you have a big circle, some animal, the picture is showing a camel, going around and around to operate the whole thing. It's based on Gears? A gear. A very simple gear made out of wood that operated the whole thing. And we have a few of them. We've got about 2 or 3 of them that indicate people taking water from here until modern times, but there was
Now in the Basilica, or what's left of the Basilica, here at Ashkelon.
Oh, that's so
They
pretty.
originally decorated the Basilica. Instead of putting them in a way that you can appreciate them, they're just thrown across to you.
Higher good
We've got 3 giant sculptures here. They're more like reliefs, not freestanding sculptures. But they are. Here's another fragment of another one. But these are more clear. Aphrodite, Atlas. You can see him holding his head, and Nike above him.
Was it common for Basilica to have pagans on their statues?
Yeah, these were all Romans.
Oh.
And the head of Atargatis, the city goddess. Again, an interesting combination of Roman and Semitic still heritage among those locals. I argue that once the Romans showed up here to suppress the Jewish rebellion, the local pagans would Archaeological in Caesarea Philippi and many other examples. It's mostly late Roman imperial support, their favor for the pagan loyalty to the Roman power. But then in the 4th century they all turned Christian, and often these temples are replaced with churches. Here there's a good share of them preserved. Look on your right, you can see 3 standing pillars also. They were reconstructed as they were part of a church from Crusaders' time, which was built facing the wall. Okay, we didn't find churches from Byzantine times. I'm pretty sure there was also presence in Byzantine times of the Christians. But we do have clear one from Crusaders' time. And the way out, look at the way out that we are using, is the very same way out also in antiquity. This was the Jerusalem gate. And the walls next to it are standing to this day. I don't know if all the way to the top, but still a good share of them. At least 800 years old. Also here you can see how pillars were used to reinforce the walls. Here's the area of the outer gate probably. And one site that I didn't show you, because we were getting short of time, is another site excavated by Steger towards the southern part of the mount, where we found another bizarre evidence of burials, but this time of dogs. Nearly 1,500 dogs were buried in a proper manner in a cemetery in the southern part of the site. They date to Persian times. It's apparently from the time of the Tyrians when they inhabited this area. It's a big mystery what exactly is going on here. As usual, when you cannot explain something in a simple logic manner, you tend to go to the religious explanations, and this is indeed the one suggested also in this case. They were perhaps related to some local Tyrian or early Greek. Some try to relate it to an early version of venerating Apollo. But frankly, there are more questions than answers. We do know that dogs were considered as, besides loyal animals to humans, also with some special powers. It was believed that a dog licking the wounds would heal them. It's even mentioned in the New Testament. And yet, it doesn't mean we have complete, proper understanding of this specific burial pattern. There's no parallel, definitely not to this scale. Now let me ask you, This is really upsetting that you don't have a toilet spot anywhere around. Let me see if she can provide something.